So, good afternoon to you, Sir Divera. We are the BISO MC students, which we are under the course of architectural drafting. And today we are here for you to have an interview with you, sir, because we were assigned to find successful entrepreneurs. We found you, sir, because our group mate review recommended you. So if it's all right with you, we have a few questions we would like you to answer.
Sure.
So if you're ready, we can.
Yeah. Go ahead. Do take a seat.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. First question, sir. Ano sa history sa business niyo ni sir?
So first of all, so my name is Jake Dever, right? I'm the second generation. My mom and dad created a construction company. So it's a construction company. It started in the early 80s. I think it's in the 83, where we started. It's roughly around 41 years now. Yeah. We started a construction company because our lolo, my dad's father, is a businessman who's also into the construction business, right? So construction plus hardware. So those are the typical business for my father's side of the family.
So mainly on constructions, sir.
Yeah. So on construction, mainly our firm is doing road works, meaning roads, as well as verticals, which are buildings, right? So we've been doing that for the last 41 years now, mostly from the DPWH, right? As well as the provincial government of Bohol, right? So, as well as some private clients. So people who wanted their house done, or renovations of their houses or buildings, or small changes in their houses or buildings, right?
So, yun sa nimo pag-balance imong work ug imong personal life, sir?
So it's more of my mom and dad starting the business, right? Now, since we're second generation, we've learned a lot coming from, say, an experience, how to do the work, and not normally because they're first generation, so most of the time they're focusing their time, their efforts on really making sure that the business grows, right? The business stays. There are so it's in your question of how do you balance work and personal life, or work and life, right? It's quite hard when you're an entrepreneur, or when you're a starter, because first of all, you're always thinking about your business, other people working for you, right? How your business is doing, things you need to pay, buy, all of those things, and your competition as well in the market, right? So you need to think about that even during personal time, even during breakfast, even during dinner, and all of that. But there's always a need to also separate some time, maybe weekends, Sundays mostly, where you have to spend some time with your family. You have to spend time on, relaxing yourself personally, right? If there are times you do, like, even small relaxation, like watching TV, just to relax yourself from the business, from thinking about the business. So it's a balance, but most of the time, since you're having your own business, it's quite hard to differentiate work time versus personal time, right? Because it's always about what am I gonna do tomorrow for the business, what's gonna happen tomorrow, what should the people be doing, all those things.
Ay sa lain yung mga kanang gibuhat para kanang murag ma-manage nimo ng mga kuan, di ba? as a entrepreneur, dili mo malikayanan na yung mga stress nga na to. So, sa may
Ah,
kung ano
yeah.
yung
So,
ma-manage mo.
Couple of things. First things first, you need to also set your priority, right? So, when there are things that you need to do personally, you need to make sure that you know your priorities. For example, if there are school work or school activities which I have to attend to for my kids. So you need to know, is this something important? Is this something I need to attend? Right? Do I need to skip work or skip some activities just to attend this? Right? There are school activities that you need to attend to, or there are personal problems, conversations that you need to attend to. Right? Um, and if you know your priorities, then you can make sure that you have your priorities straight, right? You know which activity you need to focus first. Now, in terms of stress, there's always stress in terms of doing a business because it's always competition. It's always about your people working for you, right? It's always about people who may need to take emergency leave or who may take a leave without asking permission, right? Or something goes wrong with the business, or something goes wrong with your daily operation. There's always that. There's always stress every day. Now, how do you manage that? So basically, you need to think about two things, right? Number one is what can you control on your day-to-day operations, right? And number two is what you can influence. So number one, what you can control is basically things that you can directly manage, you can take a decision, hopefully, and then hopefully it goes better, right? You can make a decision to make it work. So if there's a problem with one of the project, if there's a problem with one of the clients, is there a point where you can control, manage, and to fix it, right? You also need to think about what you can just influence, meaning there are things that are out of your control, right? Example, the weather, example, having no power supply, right? So those are things you cannot control. So you think about why should I stress myself about these things, right? So if you know that those are things that you cannot control, then know your limits basically in terms of what you can manage and what you cannot manage.
It's the most valuable lesson na learn mo throughout this business.
Most valuable lesson, right? No, before, just to also state a fact, right? So, I joined the family business just last year, right? I studied I worked for another company previously, right? The one thing that sticks with me before and now is that it's always about having a business, having your own business or working on your own business. It's always about taking care or looking after people. Number one is the people that works in your company, right? Your employees. So thinking about what they need, what they deserve as benefits, right? And the second group of people that you think about are also your clients, right? People you work for, people who pays you for the business. So you also need to think about what those clients wants, what those client needs, right? In terms of help, be it business side or personal side, right? So the number one lesson there is that owning your own business is all about taking care of people or dealing with people. Hoping that in every conversation, in every discussion, you build a bridge to connect to the person you're talking to.
So, sir, sir, how you define success, sir?
Success. Success. That's a very hard thing to because success is there are multiple like areas for success, right? So there's business success, there's personal success, right? So and it's not that easy to define those terms, right? So for me, it's a personal thing, right? So for personal success, as long as you have a capability to have good health, have some time with your family, be able to eat 3 times a day, right? Have a place to stay, and not worry about your house or shelter, right? Those are kind of easy wins for me in terms of success. Now, in terms of business success, right? So there are specific areas where I have some targets. What does that mean? So, for example, financial target, right? So you always target for this is gonna be my profit or my number of like clients or projects this year, right? So financial is one, for example, and internally in the business, you also have success for like your targets in terms of compliance with taxes, compliance with government requirements, etc. So you need to make sure that you are compliant or uh, you don't have problem with each of those areas. And for me, kind of those having those checklists and meeting those checklists are successful.
So, throughout your experience in this business, sir, ano sa'yo kinakadako na challenge imong na-face
Biggest challenge so far. So I've joined the company less than a year ago, right? There's quite a lot of challenges already, right? Number one is running your own business and meeting all the government requirements, right? Taxes, requirements for projects and everything else. Those are quite hard sometimes to deal with or to comply with, right? So you have requirements for taxes, which is BAR, requirements for labor, which is from DOLE, Department of Labor, right? And all other agencies that you need to watch out for to make sure that your business is compliant to their requirements. The hardest part of running this business so far is making sure that while you're doing your business, while you're doing your projects, you're earning your money, right? You're also compliant with all of those things that you need to think about from a government standpoint, right? Um, so having those things like minimum wage, compliant with SSS, PhilHealth, etc. So those are hard things that we usually don't think about sometimes, but they need to be there, right? On top of just earning your profit and your money.
Master, lastly, kanang nakay mahatag nga mga advice as a college students nga gusto sad mahimong
successful
successful
entrepreneurs.
entrepreneurs. Yes.
Okay, so first things first is even when you're in college, even when you're still studying, it's always good to have some experiences with work, right? Being able to work for someone, you understand how things basically run around, right? You know, or at least you have an experience on how it's it to work for another person, right? Real experiences about work, because when you graduate college, it's gonna be hard nowadays to find job if you don't have work experience. So that's number one, right? Number two is it's not really all about, some people think of like grades and honors, right? But it's also about some of your extracurricular activities, like being part of an organization, a group, being officers in groups, being active in sports, right? Representing your schools, if there's an opportunity to represent your schools, being able to attend conferences, seminars, training, etc. Because that shows that aside from just learning or studying, you're also making effort to increase your knowledge, increase your skills, right? And just basically upskill yourself, right, from a technical perspective. That helps you get employment for better than other, I would say, just regular students, right? And when you have experiences in terms of working for other people or working in general, you will get a sense of like, if I want to have my own business, what would it be? How would I run it, right? You'll learn good things from your employer, right? And you'll also learn things that you don't want to repeat again on how you were dealt with as an employee, right? So from there, you get a sense of like, what should I be doing when I run my own business, or what I should not be doing when I run my own business. And that helps you have a good start in terms of building your own business, right? It's not just about like, this is a good idea, I will run it. So it's also about, how do I treat people, how do I treat my employee, for example, or how do I treat my client, based on your experience even before graduating.
So thank you for that wonderful advice, sir, no? And of course, more of those, siguro tanan, sir, ang mga questions. And
As our appreciation towards this moment, sir, not me prepare na certificate and souvenir. So, winner lang.
No worries, it's okay. This is it's a one way of helping you, right, students.
it's a pleasure to have you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
It's a good thing that you reach out. Right? It's always good to learn to speak from someone who is
Actually learn a lot. Hopefully, number one, you get good grades for this one, right? Number two, hopefully you pursue and complete your course in time. And hopefully you get some good employment after college.
So,
Certificate of
Thank you.